He expressed warnings to others of a force so menacing and unbeatable, it could only be described as supernatural. He called them ghosts.
Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Call of Duty Ghosts veteran difficulty video walkthrough. This is mission 9, this is called The Hunted. So this is a cool mission. It's the obligatory stealth mission in the Call of Duty campaign that we've all come to know and love. And this one's a good one. I liked this because you do not have to engage in combat at all through the entire thing. There is in fact an achievement for staying stealth the entire level, which I think is cool, and I wish there was more emphasis on this in other missions. And what you're going to be doing here, guys, is you're going to be looking at your very aliens-like radar, and you're going to be avoiding the big blobs, stealthing around them, progressing onwards, getting back to your team, and then infiltrating further on. I recommend crouching over standing. You don't have to lay down if you don't want to, but I'm so paranoid and I'm so conditioned from stealth games on the hardest difficulty that the enemies all have super hearing and super vision, so I like to try and be the smallest target possible. But I'm more than well aware I might be being overly zealous when it comes to this, and I might be being too paranoid, and perhaps you can do this much quicker than I'm going to show you, but I'm still going to show you the way I did it on my first time. And spoiler alert, I do not stay stealth the entire time because I get spotted by a helicopter at the end, which ruins my achievement, but it doesn't really affect the guide, because I can tell you my mistake and you can correct it on your own playthrough. But I still think the best stealth mission in any Call of Duty was the very first one we became aware of, which was Gillies in the Mist. I think that level was so revolutionary for its time that I mean, you look at it now and you play it and it doesn't seem that impressive because we've been doing it for like 10 years now, but at the time, the notion of being in a first-person shooter, being surrounded by enemies and actively not killing them was something we never did. You know, it was not a mechanic that ever really reared its head. It really wasn't. But there's a transition there, guys, because I did get spotted and I did reload the checkpoint, and the checkpoint was kind of funky. So when you do hit the checkpoint, as you move towards this plane, you want to climb up onto this verge that I'm on now, and there's pretty much a straight line on the left hand side of the downed plane to get past everybody. I tried going on the right hand side and following the cliff line, but it was just almost impossible because the guy kept seeing me, like fucking super eye, Hawkeye motherfucker, just not cool. But I tried it out so that you don't have to. And this knife is so interesting. I wonder what kind of knife it is. You know, we're getting some really interesting knives in these military games, but I still think the one from the Splinter Cell Blacklist is the best. You know, that crazy, like, curved raptor talon knife thing that he had. It was such a mean-looking knife. I don't know how functional it'd be, but it still looked pretty badass. But I mentioned reload cancelling in the previous video, and I need to go into it on this one to just bring about some clarity on how it works and how it's not as good as it used to be. So you probably know how to reload cancel if you don't know, but you don't realise you know how. One of the easiest ways to do it is to run. And if you start reloading and you want to cancel it, if you sprint, it'll cancel the reload and you can then immediately go down your sights and shoot people. Happened a lot in multiplayer where you got caught with your pants down reloading, so you cancelled it and you carried on. But there's also another way to do this, guy. It's called YY. Excuse me, fuck me. Or triangle on the PlayStation, which is change weapon, but if you press it twice, it doesn't change weapon, and it just cancels the animation. And what would happen on the old games is you would YY, and then immediately hold left trigger, and you'd be down the sights before he'd even done the kind of crazy clap animation that he does when you YY. And it was amazing. Those situations where you and a person were both reloading and doing the little dance, those didn't happen because you would cancel them and you would kill that person. And a lot of the times you had that reload fever where you still had quite a lot of bullets in your clip, but you were so used to getting a fresh clip after every kill that it caught you out. And that's what this mechanic was designed for. And it's literally that. You either sprint to cancel out of it, or you press YY and then it allows you to go back down sights and aim. This game, it takes forever. The delay between YYing and aiming is a couple of seconds, and in those seconds you can die. I have no idea why they did this. They did it in Modern Warfare 3, and it's back in this game. They're punishing people who are choosing to play this game on a higher level than the average Joe, and I don't get it. the punishing technique, because it's a technique, guys. It involves timing, it involves awareness, and pressing Y, aiming and shooting at the same time is a lot of buttons to press. And you might be thinking, oh, it's just a pad, it's not rocket science, and it is, but it's still tricky, guys, unless you're used to doing it. And it separates the person who plays once a week to the person who plays every day. Because the person who plays every day, if he's YYing, he's getting really good at it, and he's punishing the dude who's reloading. And they're taking away the skill, which I don't agree with. And a lot of games are doing that recently, and it doesn't make sense to me. They're trying to even the playing field so they appeal to everybody. And Modern Warfare 2 was the worst for this. Call of Duty 4 is the best multiplayer game that I've ever played competitively, because it worked, and it allowed anybody with skill to really do well in that game. If you could shoot and you could aim and you knew those maps and you could move around them effectively, you could kill people. I never ever had connection problems on that game, and my internet was the same then. It was just as shit, and I still was able to be a competitive force on that game. Modern Warfare 2 came out, and they put so much bullshit in that game that removed the skill value and turned every single player into a potential walking death trap. Like, fucking care packages that gave you pave lows, and just bullshit, death streaks that made you unkillable because you had 1 million live. Just so much shit that totally removed the skill value. Air support that was so dominant that everybody just ran the lowest air support kill streaks and still managed to get ridiculous amounts of kills, because they would literally camp their ass off and get 5 kills, and then that would just chain kill streaks into the big stuff where they would just lay on the belly in a room somewhere 9 miles away from any action and let a pave load just run around killing folks because nobody carried launchers because your entire team were a bunch of thalidomides. They put so much in to make this game accessible by anybody with a fucking thumb. There was no skill in that at all. And all it did was breed this mentality of camping and hiding and not running around and not shooting people. And I'm not the person who thinks the game has to have everybody running around, but at the same time, nobody runs around on Modern Warfare 2. The only person that does it is Sandy Ravage and me. Everybody else plays strategically, is what they say, which is essentially moving from chest-high wall to chest-high wall, only using one part of the map where it's the most safe, because the other parts of the map are so fucking dangerous and there's people everywhere that you might just run into a claymore. And this game has done a lot of that, where it's taken the skill factor out, and it's made it so that the maps now are so random that anybody can kill you from any direction, and you die so fast that you literally can't recover. And it's just this dumbing down, a lot of people call it the Call of Duty-fication of games. And another series that did this, which I never anticipated would, was Gears of War, man. Gears was being developed by a different studio other than Epic. Epic still published it. But they took out the fucking active reload in the multiplayer. It doesn't make any sense. The one thing in that game that involved skill was the timing on the actives and shooting the shotgun from the hip. That was the two things that distinguished a good player from a bad player. Admittedly, on Gears 1, internet decided who won, like it does on a lot of games, but on that game it was so brutal that there were times where you would not win. The host had so much of an advantage that there was no point even fighting him. You just had to get lucky. If I hosted on Gears of War, I was guaranteed to get 10 plus kills. 10 plus kills, regardless of situation, because my guns would work and your guns would struggle on my internet. And it was that simple. I was like fucking 50 Cent, man. I just took the bullets and continued singing. Just ridiculous. And what did they change on Judgment? They took out the active reload, so now you don't have to time your reload, and you don't get a benefit for timing it, and you don't get punished for mistiming it. And they put a reticle on the screen when you weren't aiming. You took away the skill. The thing that I was good at, you made everybody good at because it was no longer as valuable as it was. It's insanity, guys, it really is. And it's to get everybody playing and to give everybody a shot. And it shouldn't be that. It should be skill dictates victory. It shouldn't be everybody's so dumbed down and so, powerful now that anybody with eyes and a thumb can get a kill. It should literally be the benefits of your skill and not just the necessity of the way the game is made. But that, unfortunately, is the truth, and the games are going to continue to go this way, where we're all going to have aimbots, and none of us are going to move. We're going to move on rails, and the rails are all going to be linked together and magnetically pulled towards other people, so you never have to look for folks. All you have to do is wait for to see them and press one button, and your magic bullet finds them. Like, that's where it's going to go. But thank you for watching, and you take care.